Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode number 4 for here in 2018 of the Industry Insider on the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden. Special guest joining me here today, one of the legends in the sport. You say the name Trader, and you immediately go to Gus Trader, you go to Terry Trader. We have Terry with us here this weekend on the Insider. And the cool thing about it is really the return of the Quincy in the Park race. Now it's the Quincy, I know it's the Quincy Grand Prix of karting, but anybody who's been around the sport for a long time, all we call it is the Park. And that just is an unbelievably amazing race in Quincy through South Park. I personally had a chance to race myself back in, I believe, 1997. I was working with National Kart News, and I got invited out to this race by Keith Freeber from Margay. And I'll go into it later on how I ended up actually driving. But first and foremost, let's welcome in Terry. Thank you so much for joining us. And you probably are as excited as everybody to have the Quincy Park race back.
It is. It's a pretty neat and heady thing, Rob, and it's really great to be on your network. And you've done such a wonderful job communicating with the karters, and that's why we're excited that you're allowing us to be on it and to spread the word, because it's been 17 years since this thing happened, and unfortunately, it kind of the track got bad, and people got a little bit tired of it or something. Cars quit showing up, so. Years, the Park District has repaved the entire surface. It's smooth as glass, and the city is just on fire. They are so excited to have the karters back. Quincy at one time was considered the karting capital of the United States because of our track in West Quincy. TNT Kartways and held more national championship races than any track in the nation, and so this is going to be a big deal. And we're hoping that the karting public comes back and races at it, because it's going to be a bucket list item for them.
Yeah, to set the foundation of the discussion here for those people, we talk about the fact that people in the sport come in for 5 years and leave, whatever it may be. But there's a lot of people that are new to the sport, have been racing for the last 5 to 10 years. And you mentioned it's been 17 years since we've had the event in Quincy. So let's lay that foundation and let people know that in the 60s and 70s, 80s, obviously into the 90s, this was the event. Right, there was awesome races, IKF, WKA, but the PKA, Gus Trader's program, street races, money races, the Quincy in the Park race was just this unbelievable happening. It wasn't even just a kart race, because it wasn't at a kart track somewhere. It wasn't over at TNT Raceway over in West Quincy, your actual track. It was right there in South Park, and even I saw it. I was there near the tail end. My first year, of course, was 1997. You were pulling 35,000 people out to watch. They were, they had their place. They watched every year. They set up their lawn chairs. They were barbecuing. It was this unbelievable event. The city just absolutely wrapped around it. I remember when I first got there, Terry, I took a ride around with you and Gus and Freeber in the golf cart, and I was just blown away. But it was an event. Your connection with the local, Miller Brewing distributor. It was a huge event. I think people just need to realize, you talk to anybody that's been around the sport for 15, 20 years, and the Park was that, again, like you said, a bucket list race. That's where Haddock was, and Pruitt, and McMurray, and you look at the guys like Scotty Evans and Scott Seligren and Eric Jones and the Birdsels. It was a race that if you went there and you were able to win, you could walk away saying you were a star. That was that career race win. Talk a little bit before we get into the 2018 revival. Talk a little bit about that event, what it meant to karting, what it meant to you. I think you're still the winningest driver there, if not tied with Scotty Evans. It was just that unbelievable event.
Well, it was I decided to go ahead and take this on, which, by the way, Gus didn't leave me a very good planning guide, so we've had to take it from ground up on this baby. Wow. And my goal on the thing is to really make it a safe racetrack. I mean, that's my main goal. A, that the track is so much smoother. And B, I've rented a mile of plastic barriers. I've rented 2 miles of fencing. I've got hay bales rented. I've got an unbelievable staff hired to help me run this race. Rick Falks from Jacksonville, Illinois, a very legendary type race director. I've got Randy Kugler from Ohio as the announcer, and everybody knows that Kugler name. His dad is, founding the World Karting Association. And I've got Jason Burgess, the most colorful flagman in America today. He's coming. And then plus I've got a bunch of other staff members in tech and in flagging and in all the little areas where, in order to make a really fantastic race, we've got the people to do it. And so not only do we have that, but we have a city that's going to back Carter. When you come to Quincy, and as you know, Rob, you feel good about being a Carter. I mean, it's a deal, and people should be here. The restaurants and the city, the Central Carters, and they'll know you're here. And I think that makes it such a fun event. We'll have the news media, the newspaper, front page stories of this on both the main page and the sports section. We have an NBC affiliate and a CBS affiliate, which Illinois, which is, we're a relatively small town. To have two major affiliates like that is pretty interesting. And so they'll be covering this. They'll have people out there interviewing people. So it's going to make you feel good to be here. And it's just an event that I don't think people realize what a neat deal it really is.
I think you're probably bang on with that, because I had an opportunity to run it in 1997. I'll go a little bit more into that a little later, as I said. But you guys, the simple fact that the race itself, the venue, is supported by the locals, the city of Quincy, and like what you said, you laid out all the media you're going to have there. The people are going to come out and watch this thing. It's going to be one of those events that you go to, that there's going to be that electric atmosphere from the minute you get there. I know that when I raced it, it was a track that demands respect. That's what I loved about it. I had so much fun driving it. It was just, the layout's just a lot of fun. You're taking safety to the next level from what Gus did back in the day, and that's just the way things went back then. Now there's a demand for more safety, and you're stepping it up. And I think you said earlier, the coolest thing, probably the reason why, the bottom line that this race can come back, is the fact that they totally repaved the track. It wasn't that old pavement that they had with the bumps from the winters and all the heaving, that kind of thing. It's a totally repaved racetrack, which makes it so much safer just to drive on. And then you're going to take it to the next level with fencing and barriers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the one main thing I forgot to mention that I think makes it such a neat event, this is all free to the public. I'm basically doing this as a community service project. I formed a nonprofit corporation called Quincy Grand Prix Inc., and all the money is flowing into that. If we do make some money, we hope to make a little bit of, you never know. It's costing about $65,000 to put this event on. And we're going to donate to charities back to the community, depending on what we do. And I've got on my board of directors of that corporation, I've got the president or the executive director of the Quincy Park District. And then I've got Jeff Miles. You probably know Christian Miles. He's a really great little junior driver now. That is Jeff is the grandfather of that. So he's one of my main guys that's been pushing to hold this event. But and I took it on because I'm well known in the city. I'm in business here, and I know the people that I can go to get the funding to get it done. And honestly, people here locally have stepped up. I'm just so impressed with the way it's gone. And my only thing I have to do is get the drivers here. That's my main bugaboo, and that's where I'm hoping eKarting News and the word can spread that this is an unbelievable event run before 10,000 plus spectators. Like you say, we don't know the exact numbers, but they'll be all over the place. I mean, this will be an amazing race. 1.2 miles, elevation changes. It's a wide track. There's plenty of room to pass. And, they were said, a lot of people said this was harder to win this race than like a lot of national championship races because you had all these great drivers here. And we have started as many as 70 karts in one class, which is crazy. But the track is big enough to handle it.
You know what? Let's go to a quick break here right now, Terry. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about my opportunity to race. And I felt exactly like you were just saying. For me to be even able to race there, I think I finished in the top 15. Just to be able to race there was something that I still look back on. In my 20-year career as a karter, I look back on one of the most incredible experiences I ever had. Stick with us, folks. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network, as I'll be back with Terry Trader from the Quincy Grand Prix of Karting.
It is back. The Quincy Grand Prix of Karting. The crown jewel of karting returns to Quincy South Park for the first time since 2001. Race on the track where Jamie McMurray, Scott Pruitt, and Lynn Haddock ran. They'll tell you it's the greatest street racing track ever. All new pavement and smooth as glass. It will be a karting party you'll want to be part of. It's also the first leg of the Triple Crown of Karting. This race has to be on your bucket list. Come race before 10,000 plus spectators in Quincy's scenic South Park. Drivers, entry forms, and all the information you'll need for the race held June 9th and 10th are online at www.quincygrandprix.com. That's QuincyGrandPrix.com. Get online today, secure your spot, and then get ready to be part of one of the biggest races in karting history. It's the Grand Prix of Karting on June 9th and 10th in Quincy, Illinois' historic South Park.
Since 2003, K1 Race Gear has been a one-stop shop for all your indoor and outdoor karting needs. From racing shoes, suits, and driving gloves to chest protectors, rib vests, accessories, and bags, K1 Race Gear provides quality karting products for the enthusiast and the professional alike. We have an incredible lineup of K1 karting suits designed to fit everyone's budget. Check out our entry-level GK2, the new Apex 2, and our top-of-the-line Speed 1 suit. Then, choose from our Apex and RS1 karting gloves and add in our K1 shoes, rib protectors, and neck collars. If you need a custom suit to support your sponsors, we can create a custom look as unique as you are. As you would expect, our custom suits are made to order. With pricing as low as $495, you're sure to find a suit that not only satisfies your racing needs, but is easy on the wallet as well. We take care of all of our customers at K1 Race Gear, not just the ones with deep pockets. Visit K1RaceGear.com today and get everything you need for your next racing season.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and my guest today, Terry Trader, running the Quincy Grand Prix of Karting, the revival of one of the most storied, epic races in the sport of karting. Terry, you mentioned before the break that the key now is to get drivers to come out and play, come out and experience this race. I'm working on a couple of extra articles that are going to happen over the next couple of weeks, where I went to a Keith Freber, I went to Alan Rudolph and Mike Birdsell and Scott Evans, and asked them what the event means to them, and to tell me some of the cool stories that happened over the years. And people are going to really enjoy reading those, because Freber's got a couple of great stories. Rudolph just gushes about the fact that this was the race that you had to go win. If you could do it, you wanted to go win that race. Personally, myself, I was thrilled. As I said, I was working for National Kart News. Keith Freber invites me. You've got to come to the park, Rob. You got to see this race. So I'm coming. I'm going to take a bunch of pictures. I'm going to cover it for National Kart News. This is going to be awesome. Well, as you know, with the park, I ended up having a few too many beers on whatever Friday night, I guess it was, with Freber and Darren Rudolph. Well, by the end of the evening, I was going to drive Dan Schmalzoff's backup cart, and Rudolph was going to give me an engine. So I woke up in the morning, and there I was, registering to run. I think I ran Yamaha pipe, and I started dead last, 38th or something, and ended up finishing 13th. I think is where I finished. Now, and I just tried to stay out of trouble, get comfortable. I passed a bunch of guys. It was fun. I remember driving the track, and obviously, Terry, I'm going to ask you next about your favorite event, your favorite Quincy, because you raced a lot and you won obviously a ton at your dad's event. I run this race and I come off feeling so darn good. Like, I'm pumped. Like, I can't believe it. Clean race, felt good. And I came to this one corner, probably turn 4 or 5 or something like that, as you come back up from the river. And I was pushing my braking zone in that corner. And by the end, there was like a grate or something, a drainage grate, and I was pushing my braking zone right to that brake. Well, I come off, and I talked to Scott Evans, who had won the race afterwards, and I said, Scott, that corner, the one we talked about, so I didn't even brake until that drainage grate. He just looked at me and went, "That's great, Rob. All I do is breathe it a little bit there. I don't really even lift." I was absolutely blown away. And at that point, I had never run Rock Island. I'd run the Barrie Grand Prix street race twice. But there's such an art form to running on the streets and to being able to understand the pavement, knowing the track. And I think I gained such a respect for guys like yourself and Scott and everybody that ran so well there, because the very top level of street racers in the country were able to go there and race hard and race wheel to wheel. And I think that's the legend of the park, just the people and the event and the people itself.
Yeah, and I think probably a couple stories that are pretty neat. From my perspective, and I don't have the year in front of me, but back then we didn't run as many classes as you do now. So there were maybe only 7 classes run. So, you really had a lot of people in a few classes. But one of them, I won like 5 of the races, and I was leading in the other one, and it blew. And the other one I won, but I was light. So I could have literally won all 7 that day, which would have been historic. And then another time, Jim McMurray, Jamie's dad, came to Gus and said, Gus, you've got this rule that you got to be 16 years of age to run, and Jamie's only 15. And Gus said, Jamie, want to run? And he says, yeah, he's 16 for tomorrow, okay? So of course, my dad was one that, he wanted people out there running. So he, and by gosh, if it didn't happen, Jamie goes out and wins the darn thing. And so he actually won the race. He was not supposed to run the thing, but he ended up winning at 15 years old. But, they were a great karting family. They were sort of destined to be, Jamie was sort of destined to be what he is today, because his dad pushed him really, really hard and wanted him in every event he could get into. And he always did really well. And, a fine young man, really. So it's great to see him. And the famous pro race that we ran in the rain, we had it came down to Lynn Haddock and Scott Pruitt down to the last lap, and Pruitt got on the inside of Haddock and kind of nudged him out of the way and ended up winning the race. But that was a heck of a deal too. The PKA races, of course, when you had all of the best guys all in one class, that was pretty a special deal, So we've had great events, but I mean, in the 25th anniversary, we had 600 plus entries, and that was incredible. And so it's just been a lot of great things. And of course, you got to give it to my dad for even having the idea of let's have a race in a city park, in 1970. And the executive director of the park district at that time said, there's no way we're going to have a race in the park then. He says, why not? He says, because it'll chase the birds away. And so true story. So Gus had to go to his political people that to change the executive director's mind. And then after the race was all done and they were cleaning stuff up and they were standing there and people have left. And one of the guys said, hey, Gus, listen to that. And Gus says, listen to what? He says, the birds, they came back. So
yeah, I love it. So, folks, June 9th and 10th, the date of the event, QuincyGrandPrix.com to learn more about it and get yourself up to speed. Terry, I got a couple more questions for you because I just think this is so cool. When I heard that the race was coming back, kind of put chills up my spine. I'm not actually going to be there because I'd already confirmed to another event. Of course, that's been the battle that we've had in eKarting News. There's so many races we want to go to, but we can't because there's just so much racing right now. So I'm hoping things will move around that I'll be able to be at the park next year if we get the race back again next year, which I have no doubt we will. For you, here's my first question. Are you going to get behind the wheel?
I am not.
Are you going to get not even a couple
maybe laps. Okay, that's a maybe, but I'm tied with Scott Evans with 27 wins. I quit running in 1994, so he had 8 more years on me to pile up some victories. Of course, I started before him too, so got to give him credit for that. But I talked to Scotty. I said, "Hey, Scott, are you going to run?" And he goes, "No, I'm too out of shape, and I'm not going to do it." I said, "Okay, well, good enough. Then I don't have to come out of retirement to do this." Okay,
I like it.
I don't mind being tied for first, but Scotty's going to bring a whole group of people down, and he's like you said on his interview, he's super excited about this event.
Yeah, Terry, that was my next question. I would have to think. I know that you're working hard on it right now. The race now, we're just a month and a half away from the race. What does it feel like for you right now? And it's like going away from the fact that every racer should go do this event, have some fun, get out there and experience it. Put the Quincy Park race on your schedule this year if you have any possibility of doing it, because it's a place you want to add your name to the lore. You want to have your name in there. I know I do. I know the fact that I was able to race it. Anytime we have a conversation about it, people talk about Quincy in the park, I can say, yeah, I raced the park. And I think that just sets you apart. I think that the fact that you had a chance to race there, you know what I mean? That's a big thing, I think, for me.
Well, and the other thing, Rob, what I'm doing and of course, Rick Fulks and Keith Freeber and I have spent a lot of time planning on this event. But, we want to make this a party. Let's face it. Not everybody is going to go out there and win one of the races. Okay. But I want everybody to have a great time. We've got, on Friday night before the first race starts, we've got the city of Quincy's got a thing called Blues in the Park. We're going to have a tent, special tent for the Carters there, with food and drinks there for them. So if you have your pit pass on, your band, you can get into that tent, and it's all for Carters. Saturday night, nice. There's another new restaurant in town that has stepped up as a major sponsor, and we're going to have an event at their place. It's a really beautiful 2-story, 3-story restaurant, and we're going to have the whole second floor to all the Carters. So that'll be, the only way to get in is with your pit pass again. And so all the restaurants will have specials and things. And like I said, people will feel good to be a part of this deal. This isn't like, oh, I can't compete out there. I can't drive that well. I can't do this. I can't do that. No, come and run it. Like you said, be able to say that, hey, I ran this race. It is unbelievable. And we had 20,000 people out here watching us. It was incredible.
And that's just it right there. You don't have to go there and hang it all up in the line and, just because you're going to win a race or battle it out. Even if you're tentative about running a street race, just go and drive it. Just go enjoy it. Come and be part of the action. Go out there and drive. Let's look at your class structure, right? You've got Yamaha class. You've got Briggs 206. You got the Margay Ignites. You're going to have 80cc shifter, 125 shifter. There's a tag senior class. You're going to have a vintage exhibition as well. I'm getting super jacked on the vintage stuff nowadays, watching some of these guys with their old Margays and stuff and their old Bugs. Excited to see all these old karts come out and play. I just think that, again, if you're anywhere in that area where you can haul there and you can put this and you have an open weekend, this is one of those events, like you said, that you just got to knock off. Now, here's my question for you. How's it going to be? How are you going to feel? I know Freeber's going to be smiling ear to ear, right? He's just going to be losing his mind.
Oh, yeah.
He won't.
Oh, he will. He won't. Yeah, you're right.
What about you? How are you going to feel when on Championship Sunday when these guys are rolling off for their main events?
Well, it'll be an interesting thing because my dad was buried right across the street in the cemetery. He's able to he got his cemetery plot so he could look down over the park for eternity. And one thing that we did after his funeral, the motorcade took a final lap around the park. I got the park district to close the park off because that's what you can do at Quincy. You can get stuff like that done. They closed it off. I got flagman. I got a starter. Gave the motorcade a green flag. We took a lap, and then we went into the cemetery and put him down. So, that was a special day. So, I mean, I credit him for doing all this. I mean, he's the one that really had the idea and trailblazed this whole thing. And, it's got to be a good show because if it isn't a good show, it'll be like, well, he sure can't do it like Gus did it. So,
that story there about the lap around in the hearse and the whole deal, that gave me goosebumps, Terry. I'm just telling you that right now. I get a little welled up. That's unbelievable. Your dad was a special guy. I'm thrilled that I got a chance to meet him and job back and forth with him a little bit. But yeah, you know what? That's interesting because you're going to get that, aren't you? Well, Gus would have did this. Gus would have did that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to get. So I'm giving it my everything I got, man. I'll tell you that. Okay. Like I said, I've put together a great crew. I think we've got the class structure, which people can really have fun with. On Saturday, what we've done is we're going to have practice all day until 3. And then we've got 3 classes. We're calling them the Saturday sprints. The entry fee is less. They're going to run 8 laps there. That'll give them a chance to, run and get a little better feel for the track. Then on Sunday, we'll start early, practice again, and then we'll start the race program again. And they'll be running 12-lap races, which is going to take about 15 to 18 minutes. So it's a pretty good long run. I mean, this is not like just a super sprint. I mean, it's some time out there. So that'll be the only thing that could slow us down is rain, and it's a rain or shine race. But what I'm doing is if it does have one of those Midwestern times when it just never quits raining, I'm buying rain insurance so that next year we can do it. I don't have to go back and bother the sponsors again, and we'll be able to redo this thing without worrying about financially being able to do it. So it's just kind of a guarantee type thing. Also, throughout the week. Anybody that wants to come to, we've got our track in West Quincy. If they on Friday want to come there and iron some stuff out, break motors in or whatever, I'm only going to charge people $5 for a pit pass to go run the track. Okay, so.
Wow, okay, that's awesome.
So that'll give them a chance to, okay, well, yeah, we want to break motors in or whatever, check stuff out. So they can go over to our track, they can run it and get ready and then be ready for the next day. Well, also, people will be able to, put their trailers in on Friday. We'll have our staff there so they can enter, get their trailers all parked and ready and set for the next day. We'll have registration at the track and then later at a host hotel. So I think we got things pretty well covered. We've got, still a little details. I'm working on a special trophy for the winner, and it's, and I think I've got to put together. It's going to be called the Gussie. So you got the Duffy, and I'm going to hope to have the Gussie. So, and that's one of those that I want people to put on their shelf and not throw away. Or, that hey, I kept this. What's that trophy? And they'll be able to say, I won a race in the Quincy Park.
Yeah, you know what? I love the idea of giving the tribute to Gus with the Gussie. I think that's awesome. And I think, that's one of those trophies that you're going to hold on to, similar to the Rock, that kind of thing as well. Now, let's spin that over to, you bring up the Gussie. We talk about the Rock. This event now, really the kickoff to this new Triple Crown, which I think is super cool. Street races, right?
Very, very cool thing. Roger Ruthart, Mike Burrell, and I went back and forth on this thing through this winter, and I got to give them credit. I think Mike or Roger came up with the idea. I wasn't sure which one, but I think it's really going to give karters something to shoot for. It's a 3-race series, Quincy, Rock Island, and it's kind of confusing because what it is, Margay Ignite is one of the classes. They don't run Margay Ignite at Rock Island. They run it they don't run Margay Ignite at Elkhart. They run it at Indianapolis. So for the Margay Ignite, their 3 are going to be Indianapolis, Quincy, and Rock Island. For the other classes, their 3 are going to be Elkhart, Quincy, and Rock Island. So it's a little confusing, but I wanted Margay involved. That is, I think, the future of karting. And it's a beautiful class, great idea that Keith came up with. So we wanted them involved in the Triple Crown. And so that's something that we can put prizes and money and things like that towards. We're working through it and that kind of stuff because it's just relatively new. But I think it's going to be a neat deal for the whole 3 series, and it's especially neat for Quincy that we're the first one.
Agreed. When I heard it was coming down the pipe, I went, yeah, that is awesome. You get the revival of the Elkhart Street Race, you get the revival of Quincy, and then you have, of course, Rock Island that's been that cornerstone street race on Labor Day weekend for the last many, many years. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that caps off this edition of the Industry Insider. I'm telling you right now, the Quincy Grand Prix of Karting, June 9th and 10th. If you have that weekend open, get signed up, go there. You will not regret it. It will be an event. It'll probably be your best event of the year. You're going to love it. Street racing's a bunch of fun. I still look back at my time at Quincy and just absolutely love that memory, the fact that I was able to do that. It's on my list. It's on my career list, which I just think means a lot to a lot of people, and it means a lot to me. Again, QuincyGrandPrix.com, the website to learn more. Terry, thank you so much for being on the EKN Radio Network. I appreciate it.
Rob, I so appreciate your help on this thing, and people can enter online. It's Quincy Grand, Grand, GrandPrix.com. So go there, and we've got a Facebook page there. So try to keep everybody informed of all the new sponsors and what's going on. So thanks a lot, Rob, and thanks to eKarting News.
Great having you with us, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Terry Trader on the Industry Insider here on the EKN Radio Network.